How are you today, Art?
You there?
I am here. I'm here.
Hey.
I have to say, have you been outside today?
Yeah, I've been outside. Been outside since 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay. I would have to say that today is would definitely be fantastic opening day weather.
You know, I was on the drive home. That's exactly what I was thinking about. I mean, it was 74, no wind. It was beautiful, just
Yep.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And next week is 50-degree weather.
Yeah. Well, I still see in my parking lot out here, we've still got some mounds of snow here, but there are puddles next to them after today. So moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think today was the last day. We don't have any snow here in Highlands, so it's finally all melted.
Yep.
But
Good riddance.
pardon?
Good riddance.
I hear you. I hear you. So I guess one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was more. It is, it's what, spring is here in 10 days, I believe, right?
Yep. It's coming close. Yeah.
And this weekend we turn the clocks ahead, so we're going to
The clocks go ahead this weekend. That's another good sign.
That's always a good thing. And the spring, as we all know, it's a time for renewal, a time to look forward to change in the weather. And spring is also, especially this time of year, March, is spring training for baseball. And you're a big Yankee fan. I'm a big Met fan. And I mean, what do you think of your Yankees?
I think they're looking good. I think they have a real chance to make some noise last night, and I enjoyed watching some of the spring training game last night, seeing the Yankees were playing the Pirates and seeing Stanton hit a home run and Torres hit a home run. They're all looking good. So
Yeah,
looking forward to seeing more of that.
So I zoomed into I watched the Mets, a little bit of the Mets last night, and they had all their secondary players on. And tell you the truth, I couldn't recognize any of the names.
You must have caught it in the late innings, because that's usually when you only see high numbers out on the field.
Yeah, I caught it in the seventh inning, and I was seeing 70s and 80s, and I'm going, okay, I don't know these guys.
Got to catch them earlier to see the regulars.
So more importantly, for our Print for Pay hotel members, and for anybody who's going to maybe tune into this video, wanted to speak more about the relationships between spring training, baseball, and how that translates over to our sales word, or not our sales word, our just in general in sales, and how that can different things that baseball players do to get ready for their season, and maybe different things that salespeople can do to get ready for that spring season, or that renewal of energy that always tends to come this time of year. So I thought maybe you might have some words of insight or wisdom for everyone.
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of brought up just a bit there at the beginning that spring and spring training, it's kind of a time for renewal. And when you think about it, those times when you think about watching spring training, the veteran players or the rookies coming out there, I would say the first thing you see all of those players working on is the basics. It's time to get back to basics. And I think when we look at our business, or some of our some of the sales goals that we've been working on. This is a good time to kind of dust everything off and take a good look at where you are. And a lot of it goes back to the basics. And I know that most people think about, well, the basics are boring. I already know that stuff. And you probably do. But the more important question to ask yourself is, how well are you doing at it? Because it's amazing how it's such an easy thing that we overlook the basics that that since we're not aware of them, sometimes you go back and look and see, why aren't things moving along? You go back and you see there's probably a lot of the basic steps that you missed during that. So this is a good time to get back to the basics and tell yourself, not do I know that, but how can I do that better?
Right. And over time, we get caught up so much in that daily grind that from emails to appointments to just trying to get as much as done as possible.
Yeah.
I know even myself, I can be the first one who can forget about some of the basics.
Yeah.
When it comes
Yeah,
to
we get complacent, and then we sometimes wonder ourselves, what's happening? Why am I not getting the results I'm looking for? And you see the same thing even with baseball players. They get into slumps during the season, not hitting correctly, etc. What do? They go back in and they watch tape of themselves, what they're doing, and usually either they're picking it up themselves, or perhaps even they have a coach that just points something very small, that they just have to make a small change, and all of a sudden they're right back on track again. And that's we can get kind of those same results when we do that, going back to the basics, or sometimes working with a coach or your manager to help you get back on track, to find the missing piece.
That's a great that's a great point. And I guess some of the basics, and I mean, for sales in general, it doesn't have to be the copier industry, is all about prospecting.
Yeah, that's true. You've got to be prospecting, and I think a good discipline is taking the daily effort of time blocking on that. I mean, with prospecting, you want to make sure that you're working from a targeted list of people that your company can help bring value to, that you can help their companies out. And every day you want to be devoting some type of time to that. Take an example. If you spend about an hour to an hour and a half days per day dedicating time to prospecting, maybe you split it up of 45 minutes in the morning, 45 minutes in the afternoon. And if you did that every day, that's probably a little over 8 hours of prospecting for a whole week. Imagine if you had just got yourself too busy with all those things that you talked about every day. We get busy and taking care of things. You didn't get any prospecting during the day, and then you got to Friday and you spent the entire day, morning through afternoon, prospecting. You get your 8 hours in for the week. However, I think doing that all day wouldn't be very productive.
I would tend to agree. Just like if a baseball player was if a pitcher threw for 8 hours in one day, he's going to be, not only is he going to be physically shot, he's probably going to be mentally shot. And the same with guys who are going in the cages, and you take 30, 40 swings. You can't do this. You just can't do it for the entire day.
Yeah. If you did that all in one day, you'd burn out. You'd dread having to do it. This way, if you break it up a little bit of a day, when it's 45 minutes, you know that there's an end to it, and then you're going to be on to something else and go back to it. So it's a good way to break up the day and still accomplish that important task that you've got to do on a daily basis.
And one thing I thought about that's it's unique. It's in a lot of pro sports, but people don't really see it or notice it. But there's a whole heck of a lot of prospecting going on in baseball. finding the talent, evaluating the talent, going to high school games, going to college games. Every organization has scouts. You could say they're scouts or evaluators, but I guess you could almost classify them somewhat as salespeople, because they're going out and they're doing that legwork and they're finding the opportunities for their clubs.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I never thought about it that way. And in professional sports like baseball, they are looking for a lot of the young talent, and it's a matter of how do they bring that talent in and then work to grow it up through the minors. Sometimes some players start young, but that's not every player. And I would think an even better example of scouts and recruiting would even be college sports. I think that's an even, better example for sales. Think about in college sports, whichever sport it is, they have the scouts and the recruiters who have to go out there, find that young talent, and they're going to bring them on a team. They're going to be there for a maximum of maybe 4 years, and then they got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So I think that's yeah, that that's a good analogy to sales there. But I think when you put it into college, I think that's even more of a thing that we have to focus on there, because it is constant turnover. You can't rest on your laurels.
Right. So kind of like going back to sales, we have a constant turnover of, no, we don't have a constant turnover of clients, but the need to consistently find net new clients, right? Is almost identical to baseball scouts, because they've got to go out and find that new talent that's out there that they might not want to know, that they might not know about. Then it all goes back to prospecting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So I guess, so when it comes to, we all know we've got a prospect. We've got to make those calls. In baseball also, not only are there the hitters do their drills, but then the fielders do their drills. But in baseball, it's all about the fundamentals, those small things about the game. When pitchers have to practice their fielding, which they don't particularly like to do, but they've got to do. I think they're the PFPs. They've got to do drills with the PFPs. So thinking about just the what all the fundamentals are of baseball. What do you think are some other fundamentals with sales besides prospecting?
Well, besides prospecting, I think there's also a discipline of other things too. How about following up with your customers? That's a key thing. And I like how you brought up about the pitcher's fielding practice. That doesn't, you see that in spring training, and a lot of time you see some pitchers that take it very seriously and will constantly work on that throughout the whole season. And then there are others that kind of just do it when they feel like it, because their main thing is, hey, I've just got to pitch. I've got people behind me. I'm striking people out. And then you have the pitchers that do it all. It may not happen when they're ready for it. You ever notice, when it comes playoff time, how just about most of the key hits that happen are those little small infield hits that just get before the pitcher's mound. And because the pitcher hasn't necessarily done such a good job during their fielding here, they miss, they can't pick it up. They mess up the throw here. That's the player that gets on, and that ends up being a key run in the game. And that's why I talk about follow-up, because I've always believed that it's not the customer's job to follow up with you. you're the person that has to do the follow-up. So if you don't have the discipline of using a calendar or marking things down, making those follow-up phone calls, or even just sending some handwritten notes about an upcoming meeting that you've got in a week. It's easy to overlook it, and guess what? It's not the customer's responsibility to call you back.
I agree.
And that's a good way to lose an opportunity.
Yep, and you learn, you kind of learn that over time. Some of the veterans, they end up learning that the hard way, because a lot of new people will start in sales. They'll say, well, okay, client called me. I called the client back, and I'll wait for them to get back to me. That's not going to fly.
No.
Client could be too busy, could have other things on their plate, and maybe they just need that mental reminder of, hey, I've got to finish up this project, or I've got to finish this conversation with the salesperson, or vice versa. The salesperson needs to finish it with the client.
Yeah, and make sure that it's focused on them, not on you. There may be certain things about articles that you come across, or some other new ideas that can be helpful in their business. So saying, hey, I saw this story about a company that does similar stuff that you do. I think this might be something that can help your business, even if it's unrelated to what you do. It's it shows that you're making the effort to keep in touch with them, and that you're here to help bring value to them all the time.
It's a great point. Great point. So when's opening day for the Yankees?
I haven't looked at the calendar, but it's got to be about it's usually right about the beginning of April. I think April starts in the middle of the week this year. So I would have to look on MLB.com. So that means that they could be starting the season right at the very end of March, right around March 29th or 30th, or
Right.
they'll start that following weekend, which I think it's the 4th or 5th of April that they'll get some games in. So, but only a few weeks left in spring training, and then it's going to be official.
Yeah, are you going to catch any spring training games?
No, not this year. I won't be making the trip down to Florida, so any spring training games I'll be catching them on TV like I did last night.
Right, plans to go to opening day?
I don't know. I mean, that might be another TV one. They only so far I think they only let 10% in the stadium. So I think you got to be able to have the lucky ticket to go if you can go.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I'm hopeful that things will change, that the capacities will get back up, that at some point during the baseball season we'll be able to go back to games like we normally do, like we had in the past before COVID.
Right. So
I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah, so I would be looking forward to turning the TV on at 7 o'clock or 7:30, catching some games. And I guess for some of the days, I'll be glad I'm watching the game at home rather than sitting in the stands at 50-degree weather.
Yeah, that, or if it's nice outside, you can at least go around and do some things that it's light a little later out, and listen to it on the radio.
Yeah. So you think that? I mean, I would tend to think that maybe that when the clocks change, right? When we go ahead, or we spring ahead and we fall behind. It happens twice a year. Once that we spring and once that we fall. That could be just a great thing to put on somebody's. Even if you're a VP of sales, or if you're a sales manager, or even if you're you're just you want to increase your own thoughts about what you're doing, your sales philosophy. That'd be a great time of year. I mean, just keep it in your calendar for 8 o'clock spring ahead. Let me go back and take a look at everything that I'm doing.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, just, think about this. I mean, yeah, we have the clocks changing this weekend. Next week could be the perfect time of, reviewing where you are in your sales strategies and dusting them off and take another look. Usually at this time, when you have things like the clocks change like this is when they recommend you to go around and change the batteries and your smoke alarms and things like that, because you never think about doing it, or it's just not top of mind. So this is kind of almost a similar situation where you can take that and put some batteries back in your sales strategy so it can shine brightly again.
Yeah, that's a great point. What you said, out of mind. I've always had the saying, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So putting that on your calendar, hey, okay, smoke detectors, review what's going on in sales. I'm going to do it when we spring ahead, and I'm going to do it when we fall behind. Great idea. Great. So for some of our Print for Pay hotel members that are going to be watching this, and for others who maybe don't know about the Print for Pay hotel or Polek and Polek, maybe you can give everybody a short synopsis of how things are, what Polek and Polek specializes in, and how you guys can help dealers this time, at any time.
Yeah. Well, especially this year through the pandemic, Polek and Polek has helped support the independent copier dealers by giving them more freedom to put more profit back in their business. So we've been able to work with many dealers as far as helping them lower their costs, or even in some situations with some of the products that we sell that are for current equipment, have helped put dealers in a position where they can be more competitive to win more deals, to put more machines out in the field that they may have had to walk away from because they couldn't be competitive enough. And I would recommend that dealers give us a call to have a quick conversation about where your dealership is, what some of your challenges are. If we can help you, we'll help show you how we've helped other dealers do that. And if we can't help you, we'll tell you that. We'll tell you that too. But I think the most important thing is, like we said about getting back to the basics. If you don't see these things that are top of mind, you may learn some things that you just really didn't realize that you knew you could do to help your business to be more profitable.
Right. And don't you, I remember just we were going back, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months ago, we had a chat about everybody's after net new business, right? They want to get that net new business, like the prospect, a baseball scout wants to find that next prospect who's going to be able to make an impact. And we were talking about some programs you could develop for maybe dealers to present more attractive cost per pages with still maintaining margins for their supplies.
Well, I would say in those type of things that you look at, and I think there's a lot of new business opportunities in the market for dealers looking for net new business, is that if you haven't looked at developing a flat rate program for your dealership, you really should take the time to take a look at that, because the flat rate programs, when you can put them together correctly, it's a great thing for your end users because they have cost certainty. They know exactly what they're going to pay each month. And the data that's showed over the past few years is that the number of clicks on average are declining. So when you can lock in customers these days in a declining market at a flat rate, as every year goes on, that client's going to be more profitable for you.
Right, and I guess as for the client, it gives them a predictable cost.
Yeah, and some of our products can help you do that competitively and affordably. And give us a call. We can talk with you about that as far as how you develop these programs and work them into your dealership. There are some great resources of other companies that can help with the data and show you how to do it properly that have had the experience in doing it well. Would be happy to introduce you to some of those companies if you need help in developing the program.
Great. Yankees on tonight?
I don't know tonight. I think they were playing this afternoon. I was so busy I didn't get to check the score. I think they were playing the Phillies. So probably usually they play a lot of afternoon games.
Right. I would like, are they going to do the same thing they did with the season last year? Basically, like East Coast teams just stay on the East Coast and West Coast stay on the West and Midwest play in the Midwest. Is that still going to happen?
I don't know. I haven't seen the full schedule yet. I know that they were not shortening the games or anything like that. So I would say that everything's going to be back onto as normal a schedule as possible. So we'll see. I'm going to have to check on all the rules. There were lots of new ones that some of them I thought were good. Some I didn't think were that good, but I think they wanted to experiment with a lot with that because they have a new labor agreement that they have to come to with the players after this season is finished. So be interesting to see if they make some changes for the long term.
Right. We'd all like to see normal again, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, Chris, I thank you very, very much for your time today. Always good chat.
My pleasure. Great to talk with you.
Good luck to your Yankees.
Yep. Good luck to the Mets as well. And it's been since 2000 that we've had a Subway Series here, so I'm ready for another one. I'd like to see that.
21 years. I can't believe it. 21 years has gone by that quick.
I know it did go fast.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Thank
you very much.
Take care, Art.
Talking to you. All right.
Yep. So long.
You too. Bye now.
Bye.